Hey guys, it's me Avidavedi and you are listening on Extended Reality Developers of India community. Today we have straight from Germany, Berlin, Mr. Dinesh Punni, and Dinesh has an amazing YouTube channel. He is an innovator, YouTuber, Educator. So without any further delay, let's invite him on the podcast and let's talk about his journey to this industry. So Dinesh, would love to explore your all the creations and all the creativity in XR. Let's have some self-introduction because would love to listen from you.
Cool. First of all, thanks for having me. It's awesome to be here. Really excited. And yeah, about me, I'm Dinesh, just as you mentioned already. And yeah, how would I mostly easy describe myself? So I'm very interested and I really love AR, VR, and started in this technology, I think 4 to 5 years ago.
Yep.
When I first tried out the Oculus, and then yeah, I just fell in love with this technology. I just saw the potential, whole big universe of opportunities, and ever since then I went to dozens of hackathons, all the testings. I basically got pretty much every device that was out there and just started prototyping and creating some games and apps. And now I've been like 5 years later, I've
Yep.
been teaching AR, VR, a lot, like on meetups, on conferences, actually in the University of Europe in Berlin. And then 2 years later, I started creating my YouTube channel, where I also teach AR and VR for people who want to go in the industry. So it's focused on basically anyone who's interested in getting a job or just like switching over to this industry. So it's for developers, of course, but also for designers, sound people, and storytellers. Basically, anyone who wants to create something amazing in VR, AR is welcome, of course.
So one thing about you, you are very passionate about educating, and then you chose the
Yeah.
path of YouTube to educate about XR. These are basically two of your passions, and you sort of blend them together, and you became an XR educator. So let's talk about your journey into being an XR educator. And yeah, when was the first time when you got introduced with the XR, and how it took the play in your life?
I would say, yeah, the first time that I got introduced into VR, by that time it was, I think, 2014, on the Gamescom in Germany, exactly. I can remember pretty clearly because then that time I tried out the Oculus DK1 for the first time. It was like this stupid roller coaster, really. So like when you put on the glasses, you are in a virtual roller coaster. And I just like totally freaked out because it was the first time for me experiencing VR in 2014. And I don't know, I was like so excited, and I was like looking up and back and down, and I could see, like I could really feel it. And by that time I really knew that VR or AR VR is something for me. Before that, I was already into Unity, which is quite fortunate actually, because that was making the step from game development or app development to AR VR stuff very easy, because I didn't change my programming language or my engine, nothing. Before I was introduced to VR, I was making games already. And so yeah, by that time I fell in love with this technology, and later on I started basically pre-ordering the Oculus DK2 and started making some games with it, or some apps and games. Then I was really lucky to get a position in a research lab in Technical University of Berlin, where I was working in the medical sector. And yeah, from that, many different companies and projects and all of kind of things came up to. And 2017, which was my introduction to also teaching a lot, because there I went to the VR Berlin meetup, where I very regularly, and the developers meetup also, started teaching VR and AR stuff in front of an audience.
Amazing.
And yeah, this led to many other things like conferences, and later on the university in Berlin, University of Europe, the BTK. And at some point, I mean, I'm a YouTube addict, so at some point it came like just common sense to combine it, creating YouTube videos and teaching. So And I really love the process of making videos as well. So it's basically really like combining many things that I really like and putting them together, which then led to my channel.
Awesome. So let's talk about the time when you started with this VR journey, the year 2014, and now there are plenty of changes. There are plenty of player in terms of devices, the experiences. Everything has changed since then. So how do you see this change, or somebody who is starting? How this is this comforting or is this confusing in your terms?
That's a very good question, actually, because it is pretty much both. Like, first of all, let me start with the good thing. It's pretty awesome and amazing just to see that every couple months, really, there's a new device, new technologies, new SDKs, new tools. So it's growing very fast, in my personal opinion, of course, but also objectively, like the jobs are going much higher. For the job demand on AR, VR is growing a lot. Also, the money that is being invested into this technology is growing a lot. Like, there are a huge number of very big players, just to mention like Google, Apple, Microsoft, and so on. And also here in Germany, Mercedes, Volkswagen, Audi, all of them, they are really trusting into this technology, and which just means that all the manufacturers are already producing a lot of new devices like every couple of months. So I mean, I have just got the Oculus Quest 2, for example, and this is
Yep.
an amazing device.
Amazing device.
Hardware-wise, it's pretty good. And so that's for the positive things. So things are moving forward really fast, which can also be, first of all, confusing, a little bit of frustrating, and also to many people a bit of overwhelming, because there is just so much stuff that you have to keep up with,
Yep.
that it's already a full-time job just to know which device comes out and which SDK, and Unity makes a new update, and lots of things are coming, and lots of people are doing stuff. So it is a lot of things happening, and if you want to be an insider in this whole field, then yeah, it requires a lot of attention and a lot of thinking. Okay, this, and you have to figure out what is important to you and what is not so important. So you have to kind of like distinguish the noise from the important stuff.
Yep.
And this can be very challenging, definitely.
Yeah. So target this kind of specific segment. We have this sort of XR news initiative, which basically talks about what's the recent update coming on the channel. So we are again addressing that problem. So let's talk about how somebody who's a very absolute beginner start with XR. Taking inspirations from your journey, what is your suggestions about starting with VR in 2020? If somebody wants to start with that, starting with VR or AR or XR, whatever it is. So yeah, what is your suggestion to that?
Yeah, that's a pretty good question, and probably also the question that have the single most asked question that I got on my channel so far. Obviously. So I have a dedicated video on it, of course, so feel free to check it out later on my channel. I have a dedicated video for VR and one for AR, but of course I can share some very helpful experiences that I have made. So first of all, it's pretty important to know what you want. This is this is kind of general as well, but first of all, do you want to go into AR or VR? Focus on this first. If you know it, then you will see if you have the budget and the devices already. So if you want to go into VR, do you have at least a VR device, for example? I mean, the Quest is now getting fairly affordable. But then if you want to go, for example, into high-level AR or MR with the HoloLens, for example. So this device alone costs like 3,500 euros. And the Quest 2 cost only, I think, 300 something. So it's, first of all, know your what you want and know your budget, where it fits in. Most people, especially also on my channel, they are really strong with AR because they have the phone. Everyone has a phone. Most of people have a phone that they can use. So I think AR can be a great start for most people, just because they don't need to buy a PC or a headset or anything. They don't need to buy anything. So that's the first thing. If you want to know, okay, do you want to go there and there? The second part is, let me go get 3 good tips, and I think that's like concluding, because I could talk forever about this topic. First of all, know what exactly you want to do, because it's a very different path on what you want to do. Second of all, then just start doing something small and fast, or not fast, but something small. So let's say you want to do AR. So the path for this on VR is not so different. But I mentioned it on my channel as well. But let's say you want to do AR applications on your iPhone. You should need an engine that you want to use, so either Unity or Unreal, which I would recommend just because they are the industry key players.
Yep.
I mean, maybe you can make some links below for the people watching. Unity is amazing. I teach it on my channel a lot. My stuff is mostly focused on Unity and C#, but also a viable option is, of course, Unreal Engine with C++. This is really just personal preference. Both have their strengths and weaknesses, and making like telling you what to do would not help you and me. So just check out both, and that would help you a lot already in making the decision. You could also use iOS natively if you have the skills already. So again, this is kind of a question that test out Unity, test out Unreal, and test out the native options for iOS or Android, for example. And then just see what you like most, basically, because that's something that nobody can answer for you. And the third tip that will help you a lot, in my opinion, or it helped me so much that this is one of my number one tips actually, is get into the community and into the industry. So back then in 2016, I think, I started going a lot to the local meetups, for example. There is a local meetup for pretty much every place. I mean, you are pretty big in India, so of course, definitely follow his stuff if you don't do it already, if you're in India based. But generally, like, especially since the situation now, everything is going digital anyway, so there's even less excuse that you don't have the possibility for a local meetup. Everything is online, so just jump onto some communities. I know for AR, VR, there's not that much. So, I mean, feel free to follow my stuff on YouTube and LinkedIn, but also Avi is doing great work as well. So just connect with community leaders or whatever you want to call it, but get into the people's mind so that then you know from the inside on how that stuff works. I think, yeah, that those three things would be very, very helpful. So first, know if you want to do AR, VR, and then also what kind of device, what do you have, what you don't have. Second of all, get technical. So try out Unity, try out Unreal, try out the native options as well. See what you like most. And the third is definitely get into the community, learn from the people who do it for years already, because they can save you a lot of time.
All right, amazing. These are three amazing tips. One is to start with what you already have, maybe a mobile phone. So you can definitely start with AR. You also talk about communities, how important they are. And you also told about all pretty much every question you could ask about starting with these engines is already available on your channel. So please check it out, that channel, and you can definitely find your answers about how to start with XR. Now let's talk about the state of the art of XR. So right now there are plenty of streams which we can talk about, like even in XR there is 360 movies, there is projections, there are projection and mapping, there is a photogrammetry is a huge section of that. Also there is virtual reality and augmented reality mix, all sort of sections. So let's go over what is the state of the art situation on each playground and what are the major competitors. If we can go over a fly-through look, it would be awesome.
Quick thing, the connection was lost for like 5 seconds or something like this. So I heard like a little bit here, a little bit here. Can you just make it, ask the question in a short form again?
Surely. So yeah, would love to talk about the state of the art in XR. So what are the major players in XR right now in every field? Yeah.
Okay, that's a good question. It's broad, so I will try to kind of split it up. First of all, I think I can talk about hardware and then a bit about software, maybe something like this. Hardware-wise, it is, of course, always, I try to differentiate always between AR and VR on my stuff, because they are similar, of course, but still they are different. So on VR, Yeah, there's a lot of stuff coming, and like if I'm being honest, I don't know like every top-notch detail about every single update either. But on my opinion, for mobile VR at the moment, in my opinion, there's pretty much nothing that beats the Quest. But there, I have to say, I just really don't like how Facebook is evolving with the Quest right now. I think that's a big complaint, and pretty much all around the world, like that you are forced to use Facebook accounts and stuff like this. So this is pretty. I mean, it can be a harmful move to them because it might open the possibility for competitors to create something similar, and which don't force you to log in into Facebook and stuff like this. But as of now, in my opinion, there's nothing that beats quality-wise the hardware of this device on the mobile market.
Absolutely.
So for VR, if you want to go mobile, which has a lot of benefits, but then there's also the other side where you have tethered VR. So you have a big PC for really like high-end VR stuff. I think there, my opinion is pretty clear. I really love the Valve Index. It's just an amazing device. I tested out so many different things. I tested out the Vive 2 and all the others. The Windows Mixed Reality devices, I tested most of them. But like the clear winner as of now from the Valve Index for the a bit more heavier, more expensive PC VR experience, but you just have everything that you need. The controllers are amazing, the content is amazing, the sound is amazing, the display, it's just like straight up awesome. So I think that's the separation for VR. So you have the mobile side and then you have the tethered side, depending on your use case, of course. Then for AR, I think it's also quite clear. I mean, hardware-wise, I don't even know if there's much difference, much else, but we have the iPhone and we have the Androids. As of now, Android is quite superior with the quality, especially like now with the LiDAR sensor of the iPhone, which I think it's also something we can talk on later about. So if you have the iPhone, or of course, it is a bit better, but it's not like day and night difference. So if you just use what you have for AR on the phone. And then there's also a third sector, I would say, which is head-mounted, mixed reality, augmented reality, whatever you want to call it. There is also not very much options, in my opinion, which are pretty relevant. I mean, the HoloLens 2 is, I don't even know if it's publicly accessible at the moment because it's really hard to get from Microsoft. You basically only get it if you are a certified Microsoft partner.
Yeah.
To everyone watching the video, if you are a company and you want to have the HoloLens and you don't have the possibility to, then feel free to contact me and I can help you out. So you can have one as well. So that's for the HoloLens 2 at the moment. The HoloLens 1, which is more accessible, but the quality for the 2 and the 1 is day and night. So it's a complete different headset. It's so much better, the version 2. The display is much bigger. The hand tracking is pretty amazing. The interaction is awesome. So the whole headset is pretty much the state of the art at the moment. The Magic Leap is also pretty good. But it's also hard to get at the moment. So it's hard to deliver to Germany, at least back then. I don't know how it is exactly right now. So they're both viable options. I don't know the pricing exactly of the Magic Leap, but if you just go for pure quality and pure awesome experience, then this is definitely, I can just like give my word for it, this is definitely the device that you will go for. If you want to go like high-end mixed reality, then you would go with the HoloLens. Of course, most people will go with the affordable options on the iPhone here or the Android phone. And if you want to go VR, then I just told you already.
Amazing. It's a complete landscape which you covered. Awesome.
Yeah, it's a lot of different things.
It's a lot of different things. Amazing. Yeah. So now let's talk about the controversy, which is between the HoloLens and Magic Leap, because both are claiming to be the best in this mixed reality market, and specifically this Magic Leap came up with a lot of hype. So what is the expectation? And I mean, you have worked on both. So what was your personal experience of working with both? So did you like the software, hardware, and what was your ease of work? What was your perspective of HoloLens versus the Magic Leap?
Yeah, that's also a good question. Let me see. Yeah, first of all, the hype from Magic Leap, I think everyone was it was a bit overhyped, of course, as
Overhype.
always.
Yep.
But that's just like marketing, whatever. Like, I mean, yeah, it was a bit overhyped, of course. But in my opinion, I mean, I have talked to many peers of mine, like other people in the industry, and many of them were quite disappointed from the Magic Leap, which I don't understand. I mean, I was not expecting the you have contact lenses and everything is like perfect, like Iron Man or something like this. I was never expecting something like this, even though they kind of tried to hype it so high that people think it's like a new universe or something like this. I tried the HoloLens before, and the HoloLens 1 also back in 2016, and I knew, okay, this is the direction we are going into. So my comparison was not like Iron Man or something I see in movies. My expectation was, okay, if it's better than the HoloLens, then it's not bad actually, and it's good.
Yep.
So I was pretty happy to see that Magic Leap was doing it really well, actually. If you compare to the HoloLens 1, of course, like it's a first gen versus first gen. If you start comparing the latest devices, which is the HoloLens 2 and the Magic Leap 1, then of course I will have to say that the HoloLens 2 is better. But back then, I think we got the Magic Leap in 2018 or 2017. I'm not too sure exactly. But it was a very pleasant experience, I have to say. Like the SDK was amazing. Like from a developer perspective alone, it was really like top notch. Like I would give Magic Leap a 10 out of 10 for this. Of course, there were some problems. Like I tested it when it was version 0.8 alpha, so it was very far from finished, of course. So I was like one of the first testers in Germany or Europe actually, who got to the devices. So there was not that much at the moment, but the documentation was pretty clean. The examples were amazing. The features was working. The device itself was good. Overall, hardware was pretty happy with the Magic Leap. The only thing that they did, which I didn't understand from the very first place, was that they targeted the consumer market, which was totally the wrong move, most likely.
Yep, surely.
So I didn't get it. Like you pay 2,800 euros for as a consumer for a device where there's like pretty much no content on there. Like there's one funny game, this Dr. Godboard's Invaders. It's pretty cool, but like after you play it for a couple hours, then it's done. It's a really cool demo, but it's not something that a consumer would really buy and like use a lot. So I think they just missed the market there, which is the reason why now Microsoft is taking over Magic Leap, and now they are focusing more on enterprise, which is much more the use case for this technology at the moment. I mean, I'm interested in to see what Apple is doing as well in the future, but right now, this day, the market for those devices is definitely enterprise. So Magic Leap is now shifting into enterprise. And yeah, but just to answer your question, so Magic Leap was really, I think there was not very much that I didn't like about this device, so it was pretty amazing. If I then compare it with the HoloLens 1, which was not so ideal, I would say, like the interaction is just bad. It's just like really bad. If you try to explain it to people, I tried to explain it to hundreds of people in dozens of conferences, and it just never worked really out. I think everyone who's watching the stream right now and has ever tried to show someone the HoloLens 1 knows exactly the pain that I'm feeling right now. When you try to show someone this gesture, it just does not work for people. So of course the Magic Leap is far better than the one. But now they came out with this device, and I gotta tell you, this is just amazing. Like there's not very much that I don't like about the HoloLens 2. The display could be a little bit better and small things, of course, but overall it's pretty good.
Also, if I give you some points to talk about, for example, FOV, tracking, and display. So on these three criteria, how do you judge these two devices? Which one is winning? So talk about FOV, because it's
FOV. Yeah, that's
really
pretty
important.
pretty important. The HoloLens has a slightly bigger field of view, but not that much noticeable. Like the HoloLens 1 has a pretty small one, then Magic Leap, which is bigger, and then the HoloLens 2 is a little bit bigger.
Little bit bigger.
I don't even know if that's true, but that's just my experience.
And display, display quality.
Display, okay, so, well, let me see. The HoloLens 1 has a pretty good display. I don't know if they messed up something with the HoloLens 2, but it's the colors are not perfectly accurate, but the display is pretty sharp. Like with the HoloLens 1 also, I was very impressed that unlike VR, for example, you can read text very, very clear. Like if you have a PDF and it's text size 12, you can read everything very clear with all three devices, with the HoloLens 1, the Magic Leap, and the HoloLens 2.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Like you can just read stuff pretty nice.
And what about the tracking? Because that is very important.
That's a very important thing, definitely. Let me see. I mean, the HoloLens 2 is amazing. It's just far better than the HoloLens 1. Of course, the HoloLens 1 is first gen, so it obviously cannot be as good as the next gen device. But if I compare the HoloLens 2 to the Magic Leap, I think the HoloLens 2 is slightly better. I mean, I don't have a direct comparison because I tested out the Magic Leap 1.5 years ago, and the HoloLens 2, I have it for like 10 or 8 months now. So I cannot do a direct comparison, but I have the feeling that the HoloLens 2 has slightly better tracking with most things.
Yep. And there are plenty of other devices which are coming in the market as well. Unreal is a very great example of that. Unreal is a recent mixed reality glasses, and Apple is working towards that as well. In India, Jio is coming up with one headset. So it's just amazing to see this landscape growing and growing.
That's really cool. Yeah. Also now they are slowly tapping into consumer market with Unreal and Apple glasses. So I'm really excited to see what they can do. Just to get from this big bulky thing to a small sunglass. I mean, it could be a big step. So let's see how it goes.
Amazing. So iPhone has a LiDAR now. Previously, this feature was only in the iPad, but now iPhone is coming up with a LiDAR sensor. iPhone 12 Pro and Pro Max has this LiDAR sensor. So what is your opinion about this sensor? And give us a little bit of idea that what is the next dimension which this sensor is bringing into our hand. Somebody's hands, this new dimension is going to come and they can pretty much scan objects. So what is the major use case you see of this sensor? And from the developer's perspective, even one sensor makes a lot of difference to what we can achieve possibly. So how do you see this in the mobile sector, in handheld devices?
I think it's an amazing upgrade. I mean, this is such an major feature upgrade that I will most likely sell my iPhone and get an iPhone 12, definitely, just for the LiDAR sensor, because it's such a big and important and helpful thing for AR. It enables us to mesh out the room, so to scan the room really, or everything basically, really, really fast. I have not personally tried it out yet, because I didn't get my hands to iPhone 12 yet, but I'm really looking forward to it. I saw a lot of videos already, and I could see the speed of detection, which is amazing. Like it's incredible. Like I can just start scanning my Oculus Quest like this, and then I have it like a couple of seconds later.
A copy of that.
Yeah, it's crazy. So
now you can show off that you have two of those.
Yeah, exactly. You would not even see the difference too much. So I'm really, really excited about it. And definitely, like as soon as I have my hands on an iPhone 12, I will start creating content on my channel for the LiDAR sensor as well, because this is something that I'm really looking forward to. Because right now, of course, the HoloLens, for example, they have depth sensors already here. Not
Yeah.
LiDAR sensor, but they have different depth sensors. And the tracking on this device is, of course, much better than the one on an Android phone or on an older iPhone, for example. But now with the LiDAR sensor coming in, I don't even know like if you can see a distinction between those two. So they can even work together pretty well. And yeah, you can map out whole environments. You can map out this whole apartment, for example. I don't know the exact size and how big you can scan stuff, but basically you can scan environments really fast, which is very important for good AR, because it just helps you to integrate the whole thing, the whole real physical world into your digital experience. And this is the main thing which brings immersion to your application. As the more you can bring your real world, you can merge them together, the better the experience is. And with really fast tracking, where you don't have to walk around half an hour to scan the room, the better it is. So I think it's a pretty amazing upgrade.
Yeah, it's a pretty amazing upgrade, and I'm really excited to see how developers make use of this. I'm very fascinated about the physics of technologies like LiDAR and MRI, because I'm also a medical imaging scientist and working on these sort of technology and engineering stuff. So yeah, it's amazing to see this sort of power in a handheld device, because photogrammetry always existed. It existed for 20 years or so. So if we talk about the process, it's pretty long. You have to take a lot of photos from all the direction, and then it takes a lot of projection mapping and computation in the software. Is the particular software is there, and then you sorry, after 1 hour process, or after at least 15-20 minutes of process, you get the one object triangulated. And now it's pretty much happening real time. Obviously the quality is still something which we can improve in a year or two, but definitely it's a major advantage which developer are going to take use of. So really excited to see this sensor working on
definitely
on a handheld device. So let's also talk about the future world of XR. So we already can see that, I mean, if I talk about the year 2015, there was no way possible that an AR device is going to have body tracking, or even plane detection was really hard in 2015. So if now we have completed and we have covered so much in this technology, so what are your expectations from, like, for next 10 years? So in XR, what sort of advancement do you see, and where do you think this technology is going? And most importantly, how in a common daily life this technology is going to take place? So what is the futuristic version of this XR coming into lives of every person, a common man, which is not very futuristic and technology oriented, but it using in daily life, the use of XR is there?
Yeah, that's a very interesting and philosophical question, even, because it's interesting and hard to answer, because things are growing so fast that it's even hard to keep track of. Like, just imagine 2 years ago we didn't have like all of those amazing devices, and now you can walk around and see when, like, I can remember already like the first Oculus DK2, and the growth rate of those devices is incredible. Like just like one gen from the HoloLens 1 to the 2 is just crazy. And now Microsoft is working on an infinite display where you have like the full field of view, for example. Stuff like this is just, which at some point then you have the full immersion, for example. And also many companies, which are trying to, Facebook I think even as well, try to create a digital version of the physical world and then blend them together. So there's so much stuff happening, but I'm very confident that in some near future that pretty much everyone is going to use the glasses basically like normal glasses. Like Google Glass tried it a couple of years ago and it didn't work too well. But I think this is something that we are definitely like moving forward. Like, it's kind of that we are evolving from looking at screens all the time, being like this, to kind of like, okay, more like straight up again, the whole computing power is in our eyes, and is in our field already. And instead of using this 2D rectangle all the time, like the screen, the monitor, the phone, everything is basically like this. Now we are start to use our environment as a digital extension, basically. And this will enable us to so much more. I mean, right now, it's the very, very beginning of this kind of stuff. Like there's so much experimentation going on. For example, the future of conferences, especially in situations like this, where people are forced to become digital, which is a completely new set of challenges. And then
the 2020 gave definitely a big boost in this technology adoption.
Yeah, definitely. Like, just because people are now forced into becoming modern, whatever you want to call it. Like, I mean, now in Germany they started to accept home office more on all companies, which is it was like to us developers, it was kind of obvious already. Like, I can do all my work independent of my location already, but now. The situation forces us to do this kind of things. And then there are like companies like Spatial, for example, or even the company where I work with, that have like collaboration across different locations. For example, like you and I, we could have a holographic conversation together, like you are sitting there and I'm sitting here. Those kind of things are becoming normal, I would say. Definitely. Like, as soon as the computing power is in a good enough point and we have the software that enables this, then we don't have to travel so much. So it also like saves the planet, because you don't have to travel for a meeting like 12 hours just to be there and show them something. It is just that things are being more efficient if everyone starts to adopt the AR, VR technology, really. And also, I think those two things are merging together, because basically, like, if this device here, it is already, like, if I have it on full brightness and I have a complete environment here, it's already a little bit like VR. So, and also VR, for example, if I move out of my play space, then I have a camera. So at some point, those two are going to go together, of course, and you don't have this AR, VR thing, or MR. It's going to be one thing, which is immersive technologies.
Totally accept this perspective. And also, you said it really amazingly that in 2020, what we are seeing, that we are saving time, we are saving money because we are not traveling, and we are saving planet as well because a lot of carbon footprint is reduced. So these are amazing perspective of the changes which we are going to see. Let's just talk about your message to the people. Would love to hear about that.
Oh, okay. Let me see. One thing that comes up in my mind for people watching this right now, I mean, people watching this right now, you guys, most likely you are interested in this field, I would assume. Otherwise, you would not watch the video.
Yeah.
So for you, you see the same potential that we both see. So if you want to get into the industry, then don't be scared or shy or anything. Just try it out. And don't think that anything has to be perfect. Like, so many companies, like even big companies, they just play around. They don't know it themselves. Like, even the biggest ones, they don't know it. Everyone is experiencing it and experimenting as well. So I think if you are interested in doing something in AR, VR, whether it be programming, design, 3D stuff is so big now, like the whole world is going 3D. So I see a big potential there as well, if that's interesting to you. I have a lot of fun like making 3D models in Blender or environments. And there are so many ways in how you can fit into the industry. And just don't be shy. Reach out to me or to Avi or to anyone, basically, whatever. And do something about it, and then make your first steps, your first prototypes, and then I think you can also be part of this amazing new technology.
Amazing. The best part of your message is don't be afraid of failure, because even the best people in the world, even the biggest companies in the world fail. Windows.
Exactly. They fail pretty hard. Like, just
They
look at Google
fail pretty
Ads, for
hard,
example.
billions of dollar failure. Like Microsoft failed with Windows Phone, it's a pretty hard failure. Tata failed with the Nano car, it's a pretty hard failure, and they just couldn't see that coming. And it's very natural to fail. And we are there to help you. Dinesh is there to teach you about XR with his wonderful channel. My community is there to help you and guide you with a lot of things. Let's dive into this journey of amazing future ahead us. And we really thank you, Dinesh, for helping us in this journey and for creating such wonderful, beautiful content about XR. I'm slightly tilted towards the people who are educators. I think educators are the creators of the future because they are the people who are inspiring others and create new stuff. So you guys are just amazing. Thanks
Thank
for
you,
coming
man.
on the
That's
show.
So good to hear. Thanks for having me as well. Like, really cool.
Yeah, and yeah, with this, just wrap up our today's session, and we'll see you next week, guys. Please do subscribe to our YouTube channel as well, and yeah, definitely going to have a lot of fun with XR. Thanks, Dinesh. Thanks for coming. It's wonderful to have you. It's our pleasure and honor to have you on the show.
Awesome. Thank you a lot, and see you guys.